Hello, this is Reverend Joseph answering Jensen. I have sleep all night. This is the third podcast in one day, but I've got excited. Um, it's because God doesn't sleep. He's about to pull off the biggest thing that outside of what happened in the Tower of Babel and the changing of languages. This is the biggest news that the world will ever know. That's not going to do any damage like the flood. It's the opposite. I mean, it's not going to be like the damage of the flood. You talk about coming like a thief in the night. This is not going to be coming as a thief in the night. It's going to be like coming like Santa Claus. I guess it's what the Spirit's all about in the night, overnight. I'm going to pull these glasses off, even though, because I had them on before and they're actually uncomfortable at this time. Okay, here's the deal. God does not let me sleep. He's continually talking, continually giving me stuff and calculations to go over. And I've been punching the numbers and things. And the numbers come. There's 240 million people in the United States. And I will be telling them to come to my website, and each one will receive 2 God's coins. Just for asking it. Just because you went there, I'm not paying nothing to me. In fact, if you claim the God's coins, um, the only thing you got to do is sit back and wait. Because once you claim it, in other words, when you claim it through my website store, right? Go to my website, my web store to claim your 2 God's coins. Right then, I'll have your banking information. Okay, because on the website it's going to say you want you got to put in for the the thing to get your money. So you're going to have to put in your banking. Okay, that's going to be charged. Well, I have to know this in order to give you your money. So that's what this button is, or when you go push it, it's going to be like a refund or whatever. It's going to be specifically for the purpose of giving you back 2 God's coins, or it's going to be a charge. Okay, it's going to be a $2 charge is what it's going to be. And then it'll be a $2 refund. Anyway, it'll work out. When we get it worked out, it'll be worked out by the website. But what I'm trying to accomplish here is get everybody just to put their debit card in, and at that point, you can get your $2. I'll send it to the. I'll put it back. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself because I already said I would mail it to you 2-day delivery. So all I want to know is who you are, and you have to put in your information there because it's dated. Every God's coin will be dated. Okay. Now you go. I'm going to start this over. Like that. Well, I won't start over. It's no point to starting over. It's just like you're getting a little confused here and ahead of myself. You're actually purchasing 2 God's coins for $1 piece. I forgot about that. Okay. So you get it's costing you $2, right? So in other words, I'm going to get $2 from 240 million people in the United States. Now I have to get this money next month, on August the 1st. Starting August the 1st, I have to get this money. Everybody's going to want to get it as soon as they can. Now people are going to want more than 2 God's coins. Because I'm asking everybody, giving people the chance to buy as many God's coins as they can. Because when November the 16th happens, each one of those God's coins that you own is worth $50,000. Because if you wanted to buy a God's coin then with American money, it's going to cost $50,000. This is not set by Wall Street. This is not set by any thing. This is set by me. And nobody can get hold of God's coin without going through my ministry's website. Now, if you don't go to God's Living Ministry website, you won't even know about it. But everybody will know about this. The first day I go, I'm going to make the podcast and tell everybody I'm here, I'm ready to make the big podcast where I have answer questions. I will answer questions and everybody can see it. And I'll try to have as much live audience there to hear it as I can. I'll have somebody there, hoping for the chain reaction. But in fact, I probably try to get the news media, Sacramento's news people there, because it won't be the first podcast won't be a long message. It'll just basically tell you why I'm there and what the deal is, and to be ready. It'll be long enough to tell everybody what they're there for. And the message is basically God's come back, not like a thief in the night, like Santa Claus. And not like a thief that's going to steal something from him. But he's coming back less like Santa Claus. Which fits the profile because that's what I look like. Okay? And it's come together for me. Because in actuality, I'm parrying a well when I go back to Africa at Christmas time. But here's the calculations that I crunched the numbers and I couldn't resist making this one podcast. There's 240 million people in the United States. I'm going to give them 2 God's coins as fast as I can get them. They can't wait till November the 15th to get the God's coins because, I mean, what good is it doing? They're gonna get us, and they're gonna get more than that. But just with the 2 God's coins that I give them, that you purchased, right? I didn't give them anything. You can get your $2 back immediately, like a refund, and I'll give it back immediately. Why? Because the majority know that if they hold out until November with the 2 God's coins, they're worth $50,000 a piece, which is $100,000. So every American I'm giving $100,000 to. Well, if you take 240 million people in the United States, the population of the United States, and you multiply that by 100,000, then guess what the number comes out to be? $24 trillion. I'll be worth at $24 trillion. Now, that's not including if you don't. That's just what I get from giving your 2 God's coins, because you're going to get your dollar back for sure. So it'll be less $2. 24 trillion meant less $2. At that point, this is what God's just telling me. For God's Living Ministry is going to pay off the national debt, because I'll certainly have $34 trillion to do it. I will definitely on the day after the elections, I will pay off the national debt of $34 trillion, and we will not owe any country nothing anywhere. And that means that immediately the tax money that's already been collected won't be given back. It won't actually be given back. I don't know. It could be given back. That's up to the people to decide, because it's the people that decide what to do with that money. To give it back to everybody in the form of God's coin, or to keep it to help pay for some future debt or growth in the government. That's up to everybody to decide because everybody will have a phone. I'm talking now out of as this is God talking now because I'm not even thinking about it. This is what God's telling me what He's saying. It's God wanted me to make this podcast. Everything I do, like I said, once I have something like that, I know when God He doesn't want to go to sleep because we're better to pull this off because I'm not charging anybody uh, anybody when you got to purchase $2. You're risking $2, and I'll certainly give you that money back the, an hour later, and I'll send it to you 2-day deliver. Well, no, I won't. I won't have to send it back at all at 2-day delivery. Why did I say that? I just put it back on put it right back on your card that you used. That cancels that debt. So at that point, you get your $2 back, and I didn't have to spend nothing in the postal. I haven't lost anything. But if you don't do nothing, I have the record of the date that you bought the God's coin. And when they get the date of the God's coin, they'll have a 20-year maturity date. Not a maturity date, but a use it or lose it date. It drops off directly. So you got 20 years. Everybody in this world is going to be millionaires, billionaires, they all be a trillionaire. Okay? I'll be way over a trillionaire because people are going to be giving me thousands of dollars a piece, 240. That's because everybody's going to be giving me that much. We're only talking about giving two, and I'm already a trillionaire. So I will certainly be the richest person in the world. But what am I going to do with my money? I'm going to pay the national debt. This is what God's going to do is show every country the potential of God's coin and how it works. And it's like this podcast. How fast did I learn to make these podcasts? This is only my like 13th podcast. Each time I get better and better at it. When I get to this is kind of an old trailer, and when I get this, it might be in a better look, looks better, but it doesn't make any difference what anything looks like and how of course it. And this videos and all these videos are just like books. They'll last forever, generations, forever. So when everything is lasts forever and it's immortal, it needs to be because everybody needs to see this beginning and how. It's not me. I'm not that good smart of a guy. I'm just listening to God. God, he surprises me with this stuff, and then I punch the numbers. I always have been doing that. If God tells me something, you don't think I'm researching everything He tells me to find out? And then God. One of the things that God told me when I was questioning something like when He told me the story of Cain and Abel. God had told me to look up a cleaner. A cleaner was the twin sister. A twin, but she was the sister of Cain. They didn't look alike, that's for sure, because he was a guy and she was a girl. But she went with Cain after he killed Abel because he was abusing her. And this is a big story, so I had to look it up. And God says the evidence is in the proof that there was no remorse. In fact, why would she go with Cain if she killed her husband if she was married to him and loved him? She would hate her brother for killing him. It was that way. Then there was no remorse. Cain didn't say, "Oh, I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me." He didn't say that. He said, "I'm not my brother's keeper." He actually said more than that. He said, "You know what happened?" Cain told him, "You know what happened. I don't want to talk about it." That's exactly what Cain told her. God tells me the way it was. I can partly visualize what Cain looks like just because that's how God, destructive God, puts that image in my head. And Klima, the thing about it is, she had blonde hair and blue eyes. He was turned to a black man. And they made it to Australia, to Queensland, Australia, where they stopped. And that's why Queensland, Australia is nothing but thistles and thorns. And it's a very dry climate. You don't have to hunt for meat every day. It's not like they're going to starve, but they have to find fresh water. That's the hardest thing about it. They were living at the ocean where they were used to eating fish, clams, crabs, anything that comes from the sea in the ocean. I mean, they ate good. Now I'm sure that he could have bought a kangaroo or something back, or a wallaby or whatever, just for a change of pace. But they had plenty of food because that's what they live by at the ocean. Their children, Enoch and Awan, the children of Cain and Abel, Awan and Enoch, were Aborigines because Enoch was black and Awan was, I mean, they're both average. They were half and half. They were mixed. So there's no doubt in my mind that they could have been green eyes, red hair. They could have been brown hair, brown eyes. But it had to be. But Eve had to be blue eye, blonde hair and blue eyes. That's how it originates. And you have black eyes. This other thing is only the Aborigines you can have blonde hair, be a black person with blonde hair or red hair and green eyes, and their features change. There's a difference between some of the Aborigines that are black, the features that are black Aborigines, and the ones that are lighter skinned uh, Aborigines features, and the widened nose and parts like that. The blacker they are, the wider their noses seem to be. It's a long story. It's interesting stories that I'll be writing in the books and people will get. But I'll basically be handing everybody these literatures. I don't need the money. Why would a person that's over a quintrillionaire, I can pay off the national debts of every country. No country's going to be in debt, and the world's going to have 20 years to turn this world into their only piece of heaven. Buy as many cars you want, party as hard as you want, do everything you travel. After 20 years, you're going to be tired of traveling. You're not going to want to travel no more. You're going to want to take a rest. You're going to want to sit there and enjoy. You don't want to go on vacation no more and go nowhere. You don't want to buy any more cars. You don't want to buy any more clothes every year or redecorate the house every year. I mean, how many times can you do it? You have the money to do it, I must say, every day. Well, why would you? But you're going to be tired of the life because you have everything going for you. So that's why I have everybody working, paying everybody 4 hours a day to work, 1 day to go to school for 16 years, right? That's another interesting number. 16 years if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, a doctor. Lawyers don't take that long. To be a scientist or something like that. Nuclear physicist. You want to do something great, go on for it. It's paid for. It's also going to take you time. Everybody, like I said, everybody's going to still do their one school year in kindergarten. 9 months in kindergarten. When they got to do 9 months, every 9 months there, everybody will do their hour a day at a martial arts studio, and everybody will do their hour a day in kindergarten. At least you're not sitting in kindergarten all day long and taking naps. The rest of the time you got is yours to drive back and forth and things. This is driving time. So I'm paying you an 8 hour day. I actually ain't paying you anything by the hour. I mean, I'm gonna require that out of you, but I'm paying you one God's coin per week. And if you want to, when you come down to it, that if you're giving you that's $50,000 times uh, 5 days a week, 40 hours times 50. That's $200,000 salary. This is crazy numbers the way they are, but it's going to work. You'll see next month, and that's why I said I'm going to call I'm going to call the Sacramento News to tell them God's here and God wants to talk. God wants to talk to everybody, and He's come not as a thief in the night to build this world, but more like Santa Claus for everybody in the United States. Just go there and buy 2 God's coins, purchase it. That way, I have a receipt. When you purchase those God's coins, you won't be getting a God's coin because God's coin is not a currency. It will be. We'll mint it after November, where you can have it, and it'll cost is the same thing. It costs $50,000 plus whatever the gold is worth at that time. Go figure. Right now, gold is that's 2,300 an ounce. And also an ounce it would cost you $5,300. Okay, I'm going to leave you with this because it was just an interesting fact that you need to know because God's got me excited. And so he just said, Joe, the reason I made it like this is because I'm going to pay off the national debt to show off the example. He's done this all along. He's known this since before I was born. It's like God's known this, but he couldn't tell me because there's no way I could comprehend this stuff without he slowed down on me. I've already been just in the last 3 months. January, February, March. I traveled 3 different countries: Africa, Egypt, Jordan, back to the United States twice. That's a lot of traveling. Spent a lot of time in the air. I can't even afford to get a mile car, a flying car. Anyway, and economy is all right, but if I could fly first class, I would love to. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to punch this off because I hear people going to start disturbing me, and I'm also sleepy. I can feel the sleep. Finally, He wanted to get this out. That's why I'm making this podcast. He wanted to add this one short message. But everybody in this United States will be told on fly in on August the 1st. August the 2nd, I'll make a podcast when I get but by August the 3rd, 4th, I'll be ready to make the big podcast. And then we'll see what's going to happen. My website will be ready to, to handle $2 going from everybody in the United States to purchase $2 from everybody. So that right away, that's $240 million people giving $240 million times two. Okay, remember it's $2. So that's four, 480. 400. That's almost $480 million. That's almost a half $1 billion. I will. That is a half $1 billion coming into my accounts. Tell me I won't be the richest person in the world. I will be. But I'm. It's not. It's all being held in security because that's going to pay the wages. It's all going to be free labor, and instantaneously, if I'm furnishing the labor for me, nobody's going to be charged. The hospitals, nobody's. I'm paying all the hospital bills. I'm paying for everything. I paid national debt. Why wouldn't I pay it? And I'll build more hospitals. And I'll buy more things. And I'll keep on going. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that because there's so much I can think of right now. And my brain is overloaded. God's overloaded my brain because I haven't gone to sleep. So I've been up 18 hours. I'm gonna say goodnight, and I'm gonna try to tell like maybe God will let me go to sleep. It's incredible when you guys you don't know what you're missing. I guess maybe I don't know if you envy me or not because I'm going through a lot, and God gets everybody as busy as I am. This world's gonna be bees ain't gonna have nothing over humans, not bees or ants. If you give everybody the potential money, and that's all they can have to do is spend, invest, and they got to do their job for 4 hours. Let's go to kindergarten. I keep saying it. You'll finally get to the first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. But you'll know what you're talking about. Everybody will have the same education because you're there for the time. You're paid to be there just like you as an employee. Okay, I'm gonna leave you go. Good night. Even though it's morning and like 10:40 in the morning, whatever. You guys can see it. I can. I took off my glasses so I can't read nothing. I can just see where the button's at where I'm gonna end this video. Okay. Thank you.